The next question I want to ask is about the new trend in paragliding, that is the two-line C wings. And the main question I get from the students is what pilots could expect the differences between the three-line C and the two-line C in real-life situation after frontals, asymmetrics, how it would be acting.
The thing is, I think it's a kind of tricky question, because in terms of flying feeling, you could expect almost no differences at all. In kind of, you will feel at home, you know, with a two-liner after flying a three-liner. But in terms of safety, in terms of everything which is deeper than the first impression, everything is going to be different. The first impression is going to be, wow, it's amazing, it's better, and it's nicer. And deeper than that, everything is different, and it needs a new approach to your flying. And in my opinion, it changes everything. So basically, with a three-liner C, you get a normal construction of the glider, usually with, for example, a stabiline. You get a behavior which is not made to be fully accelerated all the time. You don't get the rear handle flying as you get on a two-liner C. Basically, you get kind of a wing which is more beginner-friendly. If you move to a two-liner already, you get this type of glider that needs to be flown always at speed bar, because that's where you get the best performances, that's where you get the best control. You get a wing which is faster, which is also more solid, which means more solid means that when the collapses happen, they are bigger, and you get no stabiline, which is a bit of an issue cravat-wise. You get a lot of different things, and you get a different behavior, usually a bit more bendy behavior from the two-liner C. So everything should be different. If you are a C pilot and want to move to a two-liner from a three-liner, first of all, I would highly suggest that you are really comfortable with all the collapses, all the stalls with your already existing three-liner, because that's going to be really complicated to work on them in SIVs, because you will need the folding lines, you will need an instructor that is ready to take you on, and it kind of adds to the mess, while if you are already comfortable, this will make your life a lot easier. If you're not, it's like be ready to struggle a bit to find the instructors, the folding lines to order them, so the company sends them to you, etc., etc. It's a bit of a mess. And then, second of all, since you don't have a stabiline on a two-liner usually, opening the cravat with the stabiline, which is the easiest, the most open technique to undo cravat, is not available anymore. You can only spin or stall in order to open the cravat. So again, if you are not good at stalling or at spinning, then if you get a cravat on your new two-liner, which has a high aspect ratio and is prompt to get small cravats, then you have no other option. So I think that is the main difference pilot-wise. So I would say that for me, before, pilots were stepping up from B to C, and sometimes they hadn't done collapses or stalls, and they were just like stepping up. And right now, it's really, I would say, I would not advise a pilot who has not done an SIV or who has not practiced collapses on his own and is comfortable with them to move to a two-liner C, because that would create a bigger mess for him.
And another question, because how about maintenance between two-line and three-line, line stretches and all that?
I don't think the difference should be that huge. Most pilots don't fly that much. So in the end, most pilots who buy C glider, like a pilot who will buy a C two-liner now, will spend quite a huge amount of money, and this type of pilot will change his glider in a year. And so, yeah, that won't be such an issue for him. But normally, the difference should not be that big. I think in terms of durability, we are speaking about little less hours for the two-line set, but I don't think the difference is going to be huge.
The stretching of the lines and shrinking and that, because there's less of them?
There is less of them, but to be honest, I think the difference on a C glider with the stretching of the line in terms of performances is not going to be huge, because the stretching of the lines happens fast and then it stabilizes. And I think the difference in performances, if the line conception is right and the line characteristics are not the cheapest line you can find on the market, I think you're not looking at something which is crazy less durable.
Okay. It's that question is not for endurance of doing more the trim.
Yeah, but I think the trim change won't be such an issue, because it will move really fast at the beginning, But then the difference will not change the characteristic of your wings that much. It's not an Enzo 3, so it's not like upon the millimeter. You know, we are speaking of wings which have quite a big ability to fly with even out of trim somehow.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
It's also a smaller aspect ratio comparing to Xenos.
Yeah, and it's a less complicated construction design. Everything is less complicated, so it's less precise, and you are also asking for a lot less performances from the wing. Like if you are flying two-liner CCC, you want to go faster than the next guy, and if a brand new Enzo 3 is passing you by, you're like sad and pissed about it. But for a C pilot, he would never see the difference between his friend with a brand new two-liner and his whole two-liner. You know, it's never gonna happen.